Good evening. So we're going to go over Sha Tin today, why you made which decision along the way and why that's important.
In the process.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess it would have been a little bit frustrating today to see what you saw and to see that we had so many win. The sheets were actually really fine tonight and today. Sorry, but I just want everybody to understand that what I go through during the day and the decisions that I make. Now, it actually starts hours and hours prior to actually doing the sheet. What I do is when I do a sheet, I look at the meeting itself and I give it especially Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a unique beast altogether. It is a difficult place to win money, and you need to know what you're doing. Mainly because of there's a big reason. The two leading jockeys there, they are on. You have to bet around those two guys. All right, when those two are on, they can ride the program, and we're going to get wiped. Okay, we're going to have a really bad day. Now, today when I did the sheets, I was in 50-50 about it because there was a lot of runners that I thought Morera or Purton are going to have a big day here. Their runners did rate. Some of them did. Some of them don't rate. And that's the problem over there. You look at their runners and they just do not rate, and they come out and they're winning at $3. So it throws you out. They are one of the hardest guys to pin when they're on. So I'm just going to go over the race and why I made the decision that I made, and it backs up the text messages that were sent. Now in race one, it was a great betting race. There was no issues there with the race itself. Like I said at the time in the running, the only horse I thought that we had to beat was the number 3, which was was the 1, the 3, and I think it was the 8, whatever it was. Plus, these class 5s are fairly difficult races, but we got it right there. So I was happy with the outcome, and I was happy with the decision that we made there, and it was a really, really big fill-up. As you can see, race 1, we had the horse rated at 488. We had 1.02 units on it, and as you see across here, we got it 850. There was 850 all the way across the board, and that's what we were looking for, and that was fine. Okay, now if we go to race 2, okay, you got to read sometimes my notes what I'm actually saying. Like, very tough class 4. We dropped 14. No idea why this runner is so short. I suspect because of the jockey, but on the math, I just do not see it. And that is the problem over here. When the top 2 leading jockeys are winning half the program, we will get killed. 70% of the time, they are on favourites. So when I looked at the race itself, and I was looking at the betting, okay, and again, I didn't see why the 14 was the price that it was. And I remember doing the commentary on the race, and I wasn't keen to take it on because it's thrown me out so many times. Now, you're going to say, oh, was I questioning my data? No, I never questioned the data. Whatever's on the sheet is exactly what I think can win a race. But there was a couple of scenarios going on here. And this is the thing, when you're doing the market wrap, or when you're doing the markets, you need to consider so many factors. Now, the race itself, I remember doing it, and the 1 was just completely smashed. $12 into whatever it was. So had we dropped that, we're now taking on the 14 and the 1. The other runner that was what the price wasn't there when we were going through the prices. And I did the scenario. Now we wanted number 5, we wanted 515. Okay? Now at the time, as you can see here, I have to make a decision, and that decision was made, look at it there at 15.56 or whatever, like 15 minutes before the race. It was $464. The 550 and $6 was so late. It's not. I can't send a message out with 30 seconds to go to bet. You're not going to have any time. And if they start winning, and I'm sending them out at those particular times, then no one's ever going to get on. You might see $7, but there was most of them had it rated around the $4, $4.50. Right at the death, it blew out, and that's the problem as well. Now, at the time, I'm thinking I have to take on the 1. I'm not happy with the price of the 5. I've got this 14 that's I thought was in the market. So when in doubt, pull out, and what happened then was a scenario that most would have been frustrated with, because the 4-1 at 16-1. No one gets more frustrated than I do, but I got to make a decision 3 or 4 minutes out so everybody can bet. And when I was trying to make the decision, and at number 5 never really hit price. So we had 2 runners that were not matched. We had an 80% pot. I tried to get it down to, 65%, but then I thought this is going to be really, really risky. We've already got, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, we had 6. How many runners? We had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 runners plus an emergency. We're looking for a bet. It's not a good scenario, and that was rare for me to have so many picks on the sheet. And when that happens over time, and my analysis tells me it's a bad recipe, because what we're doing, we're then looking for a bet. So happened to be that the 4-1 at a big price, and that's what everybody needs to ignore. What they need to ignore, you need to look at is go, all right, well, the data's fine, it's working. It just was not a betting race. Again, no one gets more frustrated than I do, but it just happens. That's how it is. We've got 5 picks. We've got 2 runners that not matched. We've got another runner that's well in the market. So the right thing to do was to always to pass. When in doubt, pull out. That's how it always is. All right. Now we've got race 3, which was the big one that everybody would have been asking why did I pull out?
Can I just ask a question before you go on to that next one?
You
just
can.
To cover something that you say over and over again, so maybe you won't say it over and over again. You always bring up the class 5s. What is it that you find about the class 5s? Is it class?
No, in summary, the class 5s, they're a complete lottery. I'll give you the best way to describe a class 5.
Highway race?
Think of the highway race, okay? They're worse than the highway races. They're difficult races to get. The fact that we got the first winner up, was great. That means the data was on. But yeah, the class 5 races are not ideal, especially in Hong Kong. The data tells me that to be cautious of them. I'm not saying that we don't win off them, just to be cautious of them. And there's no rhyme or reason why a horse wins in a class 5. You can get a class 5 horse that comes in with the worst form, with the worst numbers, and come out and win like it's a 3-1 shot. That's just how it is, and that's why I don't like them.
That's the funny thing about Hong Kong. You get horses just bought for Hong Kong racing, and then you get horses that are just retired thereafter running here in Australia.
That's right.
A whole heap of places. Anyway, on to race 3.
Now, the big one here was, again, you've got to read what I said about the race itself. 1 and 6 both drop. Both can be beaten, especially the 6 at that price. It is so poor. 1 is the sub runner. Not a super betting race. Went wide because these runners can win and do not let price scare you. Now, you might read that and go, why didn't he bet? Okay. Because when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the markets, all right, I know the pot was big and we should be taking them on. All right. Now, my thought process is this. I don't like the race. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 runners. All right. We're taking on a horse that I thought it was well rated. The 1 and the 7 was on the sheet. And also we're taking on the 6. Now the 6, like I said, it could have been beaten. It could be beaten, and that's what happens. What I thought was that I don't like the race. I don't want to be betting in the race, so let it go. Again, 8 times out of 10 we get that. It's the right call. This happened to be where a 60-1 shot happened to get up, and we had it on our sheet, and it would have been a big fill up. I understand that it's frustrating, but again, it's just one of those things that happens. It's my call at the time, and I've made so many of these calls. It's just second nature, and I usually get them right. I know the thing that probably threw everybody out was the 105% pot. I've passed on 150% pots before. It's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last time that I pass on those type of races. It is just how it is sometimes with me. It is a race by race proposition. All right, and when I look at the race itself, I said, I don't like the race. There's 3 runners here that really, really bother me. And also number 7, all right, we had it rated at 415. I actually wanted more, believe it or not. So, it's just one of those calls that I make. And, let's be honest, the 6 got beaten by half a nose. So, you make those 50-50 calls, and sometimes you get them right and sometimes you get them wrong. So I've got 2 races. I think this race, I probably, if I had to look at it again, I probably should have had a bet based on the fact that I did say I thought the 6 could be beaten and the 1. And I was correct. The data, not me, it's never me, the data was correct. The data told me to take them on. I think I sort of, was like, I don't like the race, and I passed on the race. And that's why that's a pass race. Now we go to race 4. Okay, now this is another scenario. Again, it's rare. It's extremely rare that I have 6 picks in a race. It doesn't happen that often. So that's, again, it's telling me that this race is a mess. Now, I'm pretty sure that I said that. That's right. Race is a mess. Host of hopes. These runners on top. Not super keen betting race. Markets will play a keen role if we bet. Please watch the market. It smells. If it smells, then dump the race. 2 and 8 are the sub runners. Again, we have another scenario where we've got 6 picks. All right, and I'm trying to find a bet. Now, when I was looking at the markets, the 1 hit price, the 2 was the sub runner. That wasn't my concern, but the concern for me was the 5. I didn't like any of the betting activity that was going on there. I'll just show you. This thing here was, it was 440. I wanted more for it. Again, it was a race where I thought I want more for my top picks, and I wasn't seeing it. And then later, the betting suggested that this thing was going off. Like it wasn't. I didn't like it. And then we had the 8, which was fine. The 12. I had it rated at 733. It was more the fact that I had 6 picks. That was my concern. And we had to beat the 2, the 6. Another Morera ride, and we had to beat the 13. So there was basically 3-4 runners that were bothering me that I didn't want to take on. Again, we got the winner. I get it. It's frustrating, but when you see that I've got 5 or 6 picks on a sheet, that's a red light for me. That's a big red light. It means that the numbers are really tight, and you don't want to be making human calls. That's indecisive. You got to let the data take care of itself. If there was 4 picks on the sheet, the data's taking care of itself, and it's fine. But when you got 6, and you've got 2 sub runners, and you've dropped 3 other runners, it's a no-go zone. It really is. And why I say that is over time, those type of races, when we've bet, they're toxic. So then you start betting in every single race. Okay? And then when you start betting in every single race, all you're doing is just turning over money. You're not actually making profit. So that's why I passed in that race. It was the 6 picks, undecided, when in doubt, pull out. Okay, we go to race 5. All right. What happened here? We had another scenario at race 5. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now what happened here was, if I was being honest with myself here, I didn't like the 1. The 1 was just completely never hit price. Now, when I did the calculations, that whole thing, I needed to see. Well, I need to get priced. We had it rated at 515. We never got 515. So automatically, I thought, okay, let's have a look at what else we can drop. All right. So that was a runner that was going to get dropped, which automatically included the actual eventual winner. But at the time, the 3 hit price, which was fine. But then we look at the 7. Now, at the time, look at the 7. I rated at 580. Have a look at the price it hit. It hovered around the 480, 450 mark the whole way. I wanted more for it. So there's potentially 2 runners that I had to make a decision to drop them. Which one was I going to drop, the 1 or the 7? You see, again, now we're doing a human call. And I wanted to see, had that thing been its proper price, $5.80, $6, all I had to do was just drop the 1 and add this to 12 and we're betting. But that wasn't the case. These 2 here were my concern. All right, so I just thought, at the time, you've got to make the call, and the 1 and the 7 never hit price. And when I did do the calculations, if I dropped their prices, if I'd taken that price, let's say I'd taken $4.50 or whatever it was, forget about what you're seeing here. What I like to see is 4 or 5 minutes out. And why 4 or 5 minutes out? It's to give you guys enough time to bet. Okay, and that's what it's all about. Making sure that you have enough time to have a bet here. Also I dropped the 5. And I dropped the 4. So we're looking at dropping the 1, the 4, the 4 and the 5 were already dropped, and then potentially the 7 wasn't getting price. So then I'm in another dilemma, okay? And 2 runners not matched, we bin the race. That's following the rules. Or, see, next time, I could have kept the 7 and dropped the 1, and then all of a sudden you've got a scenario where you've got the 1, the 3, the 4 that you have to beat. And long term, this is our survival because we can't bet every race. Again, the winner, 5.15, there was $9 for the winner, whatever it was. 7, there was $9 there, there was $9 there. I get it, it's frustrating. But this is the long-term survival for us. So you're starting to see why I make the decisions and how come. Today happened to be one of those days that they were winning. So we're going to quickly go to race 6. And you knew what was going to happen here. This was a given. It was the next betting race. So we've passed on 4 winning races, and the very next race, and this is what I call the percentages and the probability. All right, they work against you now. Now, everything was perfect for a bet here. There was no reason why we shouldn't have bet. You know, we had the 2 got price. We had the 4 got price. We had the 6 got price, the 7 got price, and the 8. Now, again, 5 picks. You can, and that's the pattern. When you got multiple picks and you're trying to beat these runners, it's telling me that you're looking for a bet, and you don't want to be looking. Now we had to beat the 8 and the 9 and the 10. Okay, we had the 1, and the 1. They were all in the market. So the scenario was now either do we pass or do we bet? Now we bet and we got second, and it always seems to happen like that. That's the percentages and the probabilities working against you, because you can go 3 or 4 races where you don't have a bet. You saw that, it happens all the time. 3, 4, you pass. The moment you bet, you're guaranteed you're going to get a second or the favourite's going to win, because they eventually do win. It's not like they don't win. They had a run of outs, 3 or 4 races. They didn't win a race. Bang, the moment they won, we had a bet. That's how it goes. All right, so we go to race 7. And this was a pass race purely because I knew, looking at the markets, that they were not going to beat this favourite. Sometimes, you just have to say to yourself, we can't beat them, end of discussion. This horse is probably the best horse in Hong Kong, this Golden 60. It just keeps winning, and fair play to it. I mean, and you could see here, we had second and third and even 4. We like in this scenario, when I see this scenario next time, I'm going to tell everybody to do first 4s, trifectas to work, because there are some horses that you just can't beat, and the numbers did suggest, like I said, both runners, I see the 1 and the 4, not seeing their value. Of course, 4 can win. The runner is probably the best horse over there, but we are not in the opinion business, and on the numbers, this runner can be beaten. If I'm wrong, then so be it, but not going to be scared taken on it as it can be beaten. All right. When I looked at the markets, all right, I need to see that it was getting laid or something like that. I didn't see any of that. That's why it was a pass. That's the only reason why it was a pass, because the markets told me just back away. Don't be a smart aleck. Don't try to take them on. Back them away. I don't mind that scenario, the $1.55 scenarios. But this thing this was a pure market call. It wasn't the data call. It was a pure market call. So that's why that race was a pass. Then we go to race 8. I think it was a pass race again. Yeah, because we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 1, 2, 3. We had again 6 picks. So it's rare that I have this many picks in a meeting. Like usually I go 4 with 1 sub runner, but today the numbers told me, geez, this is going to be a tough meeting. Like as you see, we had the 1 and we had the 5. Okay, and again, all right, you saw what happened. We didn't win the race anyway. So it was and this is over time. This is normal when you see so many picks and you're trying to beat the favourite. All right, so we got that right. And it happened 2 other races we didn't get it right. But out of the 3 races, 1 of them was correct. But long term, this is going to be the best way to bet. I assure everybody of that. all right, because that runner did. I saw the runner. Look what I said. No, meeting is difficult. We expect this at this track on a Sunday. These runners on top, drop 2 in the 5. The 5 is the biggest danger. Concern 1 is another, because the number 1 is another concern, another sub runner we need to market more on the market. So when I looked at the race, I said 6 picks. They only wanted the 4. End of discussion. Bin the race, and you saw that it was a big pot. So again, you can see that I do drop big pots because I'm not going to take on. I'm not going to have 6 picks taking on runners that I think can win the race. So I just thought, no, bin the race. And that's what I did, and it was the right call. Now,
I think it's important that they realise that you just don't want to bet for betting's sake.
Well, that's exactly right. And and today happened to be one of those days that I didn't want to bet for you guys have had sheets that I've gone in on Hong Kong and I've had 7 bets and I've lost to every favourite, and it happens over there. It's a very difficult place to be betting in, and we've won big units there, and that's the thing over there. I'm happy sometimes to let them run because I think I can beat them. Today I didn't think that I could beat them. It wasn't because of the data. I just thought this. I've just got, as you can see, the sheets had way too many selections for my liking.
And that shows that there are a bunch of also runs in the race. Like they're all thereabouts, which is why they all made it to
That's right.
past races. And I think it's important to see that the sheets are done, but they're done so that the guys make money, and that might only be 2 bets.
That's right. Sometimes it might be 7 bets. Sometimes it might be 9 bets. As you saw today, we only had 2 bets. That's it. And I'm trying to explain why I'm passing. Now, race 9 was one of those races where, again, we had a very low pot. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, we're dealing with a bad recipe for disaster here now. We've got 5 picks, and we've had number 6. All right, look at its price, $3.89, $3. It never touched over $3.40. And then we had the 10. Okay, I wanted $5.65 and $4.60. Look at this. See again, and this is when you're seeing now how it's back swinging to how it should be swinging. You're seeing that 5 picks, 2 runners not matched. You take it on a favourite, you bin the race. That's normal. So again, it's now working in our favour. It's now passing is now working for us. It's not working against us. It's working for us. So, as I said, when I make these decisions, I get them right 70% of the time. The 30% of the time I don't get it right, it happens. So, we've passed on 2-3 races that are generally the rule for when I'm passing. Okay, now the last race was another. It was probably another 50-50 call, but have a look how many selections I've got. So that's 3 races today that I've had 6 picks. So that's 18 picks for 3 races. It's just too many picks. It's not ideal. It's never ideal. I had the 4 as a sub runner and I had the 8 as a sub runner. Now, what happened with this particular race is we had the 6. We got its price. No issue. The 7. We got its price. Well, it was $12.90, and it never really hit $12. It was $10 the whole way. So we had a runner there that was under price. Okay, then we had the 9. Now the 9 was the eventual winner. Now again, and so we had the 14. So again, we've got a scenario. We've got 6 picks in a race. All right, we have to beat the 5. We had the 8. The 8 was in there. There was the 13. Okay, so we've got what else was it? We had the 8. That's right. So we had the 6, the Hulk number 5, and the 8. Plus we had to beat the 13. And I'm looking at it. I'm going, do I really want to be betting in a race again with 6 picks? No. So I passed on the race again. The data told me this was going to be extremely difficult race. Yes, the 9 won or whatever it won, and it won. It paid $9, and pot was 126%. Next week we're going to have the same scenario. And I assure everybody that when we do pass in those races, it will be the correct call. Today was a rare day. And there's going to be another 35 meetings to go or 50 meetings to go. This is not something short term. This is a long term thing. So the decisions to pass are not based on, oh, what's he doing passing and what, this is ridiculous. All these races are winning. Look at the sheets. If there was 4 picks and 1 sub runner, yes, I would go, that's a dumb call. All right. But every race, there was a reason why. And you need to look at the reasons why. And you need to read why. It's not just about aborting for no reason. I thought I aborted probably 2 races that should have been aborted, but it was still a 50-50 call. And you get them right and you get them wrong. You have to make the decision to please everyone. And sometimes, when you get the decisions right, like today, I was doing a New Zealand sheet and I made the call that I didn't want to bet on the meeting, and it was the right call. So, I did South Africa last night and I aborted after race 1 at both venues. It was the right call. So, and it's again today for the Hong Kong stuff, there was, like I said, 2 races that I probably should have bet in. The rest, they were fair decisions and why I pass on the races. And I want everybody to understand why. It's not just, I don't pass lightly. There's a reason, always a reason behind my madness. Okay, and like I said, anyone wants any questions, answers, please send emails. I'm happy to always answer, and I'm happy to always just do a talk about it as well. There's no issue with me doing a talk about it, because we're here trying to make sure that everybody's winning, and we're here to try to make sure that, and we give reasons why we do what we do, especially what I do anyway. Okay, thank you.